All right, so this one is from Ziad, who says, it's challenging to find a product where everything seems to be very competitive. Yeah, so we looked into, or we added a few extra modules into the Freedom Builder Bootcamp to kind of address different ways to go about finding products. And Ziad, I think a lot of people from time to time will get kind of like frustrated with the process. And I just want you to know that this is usually the most time-consuming part of the process. So like, don't get discouraged from it. Just like kind of continue to power through it, like we kind of talked about in the Freedom Builder Bootcamp, because it will be worth it and is kind of an important part. Any other advice for that one, Rolando?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is like the product research is the most important element of what you're doing. So you do want to spend a little more time on it, but you don't want to what we call analysis paralysis either. You don't want to spend too much time, but definitely your product research and finding a supplier, those are going to be so critical, hypercritical in a successful launch that you definitely want to put that extra effort.
The next one is from Rob. Rob asks, how much does the IP Accelerator cost? Rob, I don't know because I've never used it. Essentially what you're doing is you're just hiring one of Amazon's kind of like pre-vetted lawyers. And when you do this, Amazon's made an arrangement so you can get brand registry more quickly. My best guess is probably around $1,000 to $2,000. But anyone who takes advantage of that program, if you'd like to leave in the comments or just let us know, we can update some of the future videos with how much it costs.
All right, keep those questions coming.
You want to take this one, Rolando?
Yeah, it says having problem evaluating product in Chrome extension. The numbers don't add up. The average monthly sales numbers do not add up to the monthly sales for the individual items on that page. So not sure which one to rely on.
I'm not quite following your question, Manish. I think maybe my best guess is there's one of two different scenarios going on here. The daily sales in the extension you can't just multiply that by 30 to get the monthly sales, because the daily sales are how many sales it did in the past 24 hours, whereas the monthly sales are literally how much it did in the past 30 days. So those aren't going to add up. But yeah, other than that, I'm not quite following the question. I'm sorry.
All right, Peter has a question here. He's asking, if I found a manufacturer not on Amazon, I found a manufacturer,
Sorry.
Okay, if I found a manufacturer not on Amazon, how do I get them listed and maintain control of exclusivity? I think a lot of it is in the contracts that you, if I'm understanding this correctly, a lot of it is you do want to draw contracts up with your manufacturers, and we do have a template for it. Unfortunately, if you are dealing with a supplier out of China, it's not very legally binding, but it's enough, right? Like it creates, I believe in relationship building when you're in this process of reaching out to suppliers and just being very forward and honest in terms of what your expectations are. And I think you'll find that the manufacturers or the suppliers that are legit, I guess you could say, after you've vetted them, will try to really maintain that relationship, because in the end, it's a business partnership. They want the business as much as you want the business. So if you could really develop that relationship, a strong relationship, I think that that will go a lot further than even, say, the contracts that you put together. But they are good to have there, so that you are basically outlining specifically, like, you're just being very specific on how you want your product designed and what you want as far as the packaging and so on and so forth.
All right. How did I lose the question box? Pierre asks, do I have to buy GS1 on the US site, or can I buy it on gs1.ca? That's fine to buy it on gs1.ca. Rob Ogle asks, what dates are the Chinese New Year, and do you have any tips for us to stay ahead of it? So in China, they typically shut down factories for like roughly 3 weeks. So the actual, like the day of the Chinese New Year is February, or sorry, what year?
It falls in February, at the start of February.
Or no, it's actually, yeah, so it's at the end of January.
This year's,
yeah, January 25th. So usually what happens is the factories take off like a week before and a week after, or a week before and 2 weeks after. It's different from factory to factory, so you'll have to ask them. But like most factories are probably going to be taking off, like actually if they're not already off, like by the end of this week, all right? But I mean, it's not like, keep in mind, it's not the end of the world by any means, right? Like you can just continue to do product research, you can work on other stuff. They're out for a couple weeks, but you can place your orders when you get back. So it's not, so other than that, Rob, I don't really have any like tips to stay ahead of it. I would, like if you've, like they won't be able to ship your goods before the Chinese New Year anyway. So for most of you guys, what I'd recommend is just waiting until they get back and then doing it.
I'd add to that you can be sending these, and in a way, what's going to happen is once they reopen the factory, you'll be higher up in queue, so you can still send requests in and just kind of get them the emails out, contact them through Alibaba, whatever the case may be. I would definitely do that part of it. And not wait, because remember, when they return to work, they're going to start at the top of their inbox and they're going to start working their way down. So you're better off to just keep moving forward. It's a great time to work on like maybe your branding or your design, things that you can knock out that aren't reliant on what your Chinese supplier is going to be doing for you.
I think that's good. You want to take this one, Rolando?
Yeah. So Jeff asks, Greg, can you give some tips on how to submit from the Chrome extension a snapshot of my product info for your team to review and give us feedback? It might help those that are having trouble with paralysis. So with the Freedom Builder Bootcamp, you guys recall that we do have one product listing review. So
I think he's asking about like for product research. Though.
Yeah. No, I was just going to circle back to that. Yeah. So you do get that. That's definitely that's something that's part of the package. The danger with product research, trying to submit feedback on product research, it's going to be a little more generalized because we don't. At the end of the day, the product research portion is going to be where you're going to put most of your time and effort. And I think that it's a skill that you want to develop and be able to learn, because what's going to happen with your second product launch and your third product launch. So I think being able to definitely, we could guide you, but I would never want to say yes or no, a solid yes or no on a product. I don't know if there's something you want to add to that.
I think that's accurate. I mean, for the past couple of weeks, while we've been on this, I've allowed people to just like shoot over a Facebook message, and I've been able to try to help that way. For some reason, a lot of them weren't going through. While we're on this Facebook Live, I'd be happy to like take a look at a few, but kind of what Rolando is saying, like one, it's really good for you to kind of understand this skill yourself. And then two, the other thing that I would say is like, we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle just by viewing like anonymized data that you gave us kind of like through this, so it's impossible for us to make like a really well-educated decision about it, but like I can provide feedback on kind of like my initial thoughts.
Yeah, definitely guidance is good there.
All right, where are we at here?
Earlier I saw someone, I don't remember the name, and they were asking about the different documents that are going to be coming or tied with the modules. If you're in the platform, there's a little arrow that points down. If you click on that, you'll be able to see the PDF attachments. So if, say, we're talking about contacting suppliers, there is a template to reach out to your suppliers. If you just click that little down arrow, you'll be able to download that document. Most lessons, maybe even like an outline that's made for them. And in situations where maybe there's not content that requires an outline, you might not see the download there. But let us know if you're having trouble finding any of these PDFs, because they should be there.
All right. The next one, Rob said, can we use the LLC registered agent's address as our address for our packaging? Yeah, I think that's fine. I wouldn't worry about it. The next one, let's see. Sorry if I skip over these, it's a little bit harder to read, so just drop it in there again. In lesson 3, you mentioned to cover UPC with FNSKU if we are only selling on Amazon. Does this mean we need the UPC then? If not, then how do we add the product to Amazon with no UPC? If you're brand registered, there is supposed to be a way to add new ASINs on Amazon with no UPC. I've never personally been able to do that, but I've talked to other people that have. Like, there's not a way, like, you can't just go in and create a brand new listing and not have a UPC or EAN. Like, Amazon just doesn't let you do it. But, so, I mean, I guess your best bet at that point would be to contact seller support, ask them to create the ASIN for you, not let them know that you're brand registered. But other than that, the main reason that you need a UPC is so that you can create that listing. All right. Sandy said, based on module 3, does the supplier cost usually include shipment to the port? When you were explaining the different product costs and entering into your spreadsheet for the yard signs, did the product cost include getting the China port, and then you entered the freight cost in your spreadsheet from the Chinese port to Amazon? If the quote you're getting is FOB, which is free on board, that means that the factory is responsible for getting your goods to the port, so that price is included. If the pricing that you're getting is EXW, Xworks, then it's not included, and that's the difference between those two.
And I do have a slight preference for FOB, me personally, just because it's one less thing to try to navigate and understand. In addition to that, I feel that suppliers that can fulfill through FOB have a better, are probably more of a developed company because they obviously have a way to transfer your product to the port. So I think that's definitely something to keep in mind, that FOB probably will also help out weed out some suppliers that may not be as reliable.
All right. Next question. Steve said, when looking for products, I know you had to mention to avoid products that have high competition, but I've found a product that has high competition but high demand to match. Would you say it's a viable option, or is there something I've forgotten missing this particular strategy you mentioned earlier on the course? The product of mine is selling lots of units in the first 50 results, with many of them way below 15 reviews. In general, I would recommend going for something less as opposed to more competitive when you're thinking about, like, okay, which of these, like, I have a few different options. I'm trying to decide which one I want to go with. Just as a general rule of thumb, that's what I would recommend. Other than that, like, without knowing a little bit more about, like, the industry, Steve, I can't give you too much more advice than that.
All right. Rob's asking, if we have any further questions, do you suggest to post it in the FB group or use the JS contact support? I think that the Facebook group is great for if it's something that needs to be shared with the community as a whole. But if you want anonymity, or if it's some information that's a little more, that you want to hide that type of information, it's a little more private of a conversation, and that's where definitely using the what's the I'm forgetting the domain, the web address, support at Freedom Builder. It's an easy name. Support at freedombuilderbootcamp.com.
All right. Manu said the numbers in the Chrome extension data doesn't add up. The average monthly sales number on the top left doesn't add up to the average monthly figures for individual listings on that search. It should. Like, from what I've seen, it always does. How is it? It's just the average of all those numbers that are displayed on that particular search result. It's not like just the top 10 or something like that. So, I don't know. I don't know for sure what else to do to help you with that one, Manish. I'm sorry.
Brianna's asking, will we always have access to the course materials, videos, even when it has ended? And the answer to that is yes. That's you signed up for a lifetime access to Freedom Builder Bootcamp. So it's one of the many benefits of being a member. And so any updates to content, you'll be able to access. In addition to these Facebook Live events, they'll be stored there as well. So yeah, so it's great to be a member.
What's the next one?
Rob says, "Nice hair, Rolando." Thumbs up. So if you've seen the $1 Million Case Study, now you've known my hair's grown a bit since then. Trying to let it grow out, but yeah, got the new hippie look going.
Max said, I reached 150 product limit as you advertise. I contacted support and got a response. I have to pay $20 every month to extend the limit. Max, let me, let's see, what's the best way to go at doing this? Max, first of all, I apologize for that, because I did tell you guys I would hook you up. Just since I don't have your email and I don't want to ask you to put it in here for privacy reasons for you, would you mind emailing support again right now? And as soon as we get off this Facebook Live, I'll let them know that I told them about that.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that. I apologize. Manzura said product competition. Hey, real quick, Max, just make sure that you send it to support@freedombuilderbootcamp.com so we know you're a Freedom Builder Bootcamp member and not just a normal Jungle Scout customer, because they do have to pay more money. All right. You want to take this one, Rolando?
Yeah. So Manzer is asking, hi, product competition. The number of sponsored ads is one of the factors to measure depth of competition. What is your experience of the number of sponsored products for a niche on Amazon that makes it uncompetitive? Thanks. So you're taking it from a position of if they have more advertising dollars or there's just more advertising. Am I getting the question correct? Let's see.
What is your
Sorry,
experience
I'm
of
trying
the
to
number
follow
of
the
sponsored
question.
products for niche on Amazon? Makes sense. So, Manzur, it wouldn't be the number of sponsored ads that are shown for that particular niche. What it would be the cost of the clicks. So like that's shown inside of Keyword Scout. But I mean, especially when you're starting out, that's not the best gauge of competition to use because it gets a little bit more sophisticated. Mm-hmm. But I don't go off the number of sponsored results because that's like Amazon changes that all the time. New things. It depends on what search term you use, that type of thing. But the price for the clicks is what's going to be more common to change. Steve Jones, sorry about that. Again, I take ownership of that. I screwed that up by making sure the support team didn't know about that. So Steve, if you could send an email to support@freedombuilderbootcamp.com, we'll get you hooked up and increase your limit.
Yeah, don't forget to include your name and email. I mean, your email will be there, but yeah, the email that you use to purchase Freedom Builder Bootcamp, because keep in mind, this isn't something that everyone will receive. It's just FBB members.
Amazon requires my listing to pass a hazmat review. Rob, honestly, I've never had this before. I have heard of people doing this, but unfortunately, without direct access, I'm not the best teacher on the hazmat review. Rolando, do you have any experience with it?
I do. I had to
tell us about it.
I had to do the same. I would say that, I would just go through. There really changed. Quite a few things have changed when it comes to like hazmat issues. In fact, like even the marshmallow roasting sticks, there was a test that had to be taken to get them to get the listing up and running. So I would say just follow go through the process. In certain instances, you can appeal it if it's definitely something that is not that has any contaminants or hazmat related. But I would just follow through with that. Because definitely you won't be able to you want to play by Amazon's rules. That's always the name of the game.
Manzur asked if IP Accelerator will be available in the UK. Amazon hasn't released any information around that yet, so we don't know. That being said, Manzur, if you are in the UK, they accept US trademarks in the UK. So it is you're looking at it for the sole purpose of expediting brand registry, you could just do a US IP Accelerator program. All right, Dan asked, if the UPC was rejected by Amazon, then the FNSKU is invalid. Do we then need to redo the whole process and apply a new FNSKU to the inventory at Amazon? Dan, I believe the way you're explaining it is correct, that you would then need a new FNSKU and you'd have to reapply that FNSKU to the inventory at Amazon. However, again, that hasn't happened to me before, so I don't know for sure what they would do about it. I'm sorry.
Sad. Looks like I have a question here. It says, hello, I'm considering to start first with Shopify and move my shop to the Amazon market. What would you say? Now, the challenge, it just depends in terms of what's your end game, what's your goal. Are you looking to sell mostly on Amazon? Because if that's the case, definitely start on Amazon. Because there's quite a bit of learning curve to just learn Amazon in itself, but then there's also the added learning curve to learn how to build a Shopify store and how to promote it and how to do like paid advertising. Let's say you wanted to run Facebook ads. So my recommendation would be to start with Amazon. It's just much easier of a path. And as your business grows and as you're getting the sales velocity, or you're getting the sales or the proof of concept, then you can open up a Shopify store and start selling through paid advertising and building your list and list building and all that, the whole nine. But definitely Amazon is just a much easier learning curve and a much faster way to get your product out there. And you're using, a lot of times it's free traffic, right? Like you're using their search algorithm for people to find your product versus you having to do all the marketing and having to learn that on top of everything.
Sandy, hello Halo first. Sandy asked, in Module 3, you do a 5% of retail for advertising fee. Did you go over CPC versus sponsorship in Amazon? Are they the same thing? Short answer, yes, that's the same thing. I use the terms PPC and sponsored products interchangeably. Technically now on Amazon, they call sponsored products like the entire program, but it's like PPC is more just kind of like a general marketing type term where you're paying for each time someone clicks on your product. Rob said, how much do you spend on PPC when you launch? And once you launch, how often do you use PPC? Rob, we'll go over this in detail in the PPC module. Short answer, I usually have PPC on forever as long as it's break even or profitable. And as far as when you launch, it really depends how aggressively you want to launch. So like Sandy, I added about 5% to my cost to account for sponsored products. If you want to be more conservative, you could do 10% or maybe 15%. And that would be like the total blended amount.
At a minimum, you just want to have like an auto campaign running, right? That's definitely imperative. And then it's always about getting that proof of concept and quickly trying to figure out, find your market. And so then you can start scaling and doing different types of PPC strategies.
Dan says, I was tracking one product, looks pretty good. However, 2 weeks, I'm looking at it again and not very good anymore. Given how things change in such a short time, how should we prepare for this? This is like at some point you kind of just have to go for it, because if you if you track a product long enough, like you're gonna see kind of like ebbs and flows. The way that we kind of teach product research and how to choose these products is there should still be like room for error for like if the market ends up getting worse. So yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about that. Max said, why are you using FOB? Maybe better for DAP or DDP, not have to worry about anything else. So Max is talking about different Encode terms here. I'm not familiar with DAP. I'm familiar with DDP and FOB. And what these are is like, essentially what's going on here with Encode terms is it's like, when do you pass over kind of like the responsibility or like who pays to transfer the goods and who's responsible for the goods during that period. So EXW, X Works, that means like the factory doesn't have to transport it anywhere. You have to pick it up there, and like then they are no longer responsible for the goods. FOB means they have to get it to the port. DDP means they have to get it all the way into Amazon. And then if you Google Incoterms, you can find these charts, and there's like 20 different types of Incoterms, but like no one uses most of those. Like FOB is the most common, then EXW, and then like DDP is probably after that. All those other ones, I've never seen people use those in reality, but like if you're a sophisticated like supply chain expert or freight forwarder or whatever, like you're probably familiar with all of those, but I'm just saying like in reality, most Amazon sellers will never know what the rest of those are.
All right, we got a question from Jay asking, the UK market seems to have a small fraction of the products as the US market does on the product and opportunity finder. I have played around with the filters, but this does not necessarily improve the product/niche lists in terms of quality. Do you recommend reviewing the US or other EU markets to sell products? I would say that definitely if you can sell in the US, it is best to launch in the US just because that's where you're going to have just this larger pool of customers, right? It's like it's at the end of the day, you know, you want to be able to reach in mass as much as possible. So that's why the U.S. marketplace is the most developed when it comes to selling on Amazon. And then of course the UK market being second to that. So I would say if you can, the US should be your launching platform. Over time, you can expand to different markets, but like I said, get that proof of concept first.
Rob asked, will there be any coaching calls after the courses are done? Rob, there's not any that are like guaranteed with the course besides the ones that like we kind of speak about. But in reality, like you'll probably see Rolando and I, you know, in this Facebook group doing live streams and helping you guys quite a bit, like really throughout the year. So I mean, we're not guaranteeing any, but in reality, you won't never see us again.
We're committed to your success. You know, definitely, we want to ensure that we can get your questions answered and help to our best of our ability. So definitely. Pays off to be a FBB member.
Rolando, do you have a schedule we could provide?
I'll put together a schedule. Is this for the live sessions? Yeah, I'll put together a schedule and I'll upload it to FBB. I do think that'll come in handy. Put a thumbs up if you think that'd be handy. A calendar.
All right. Hey, listen, I feel so behind. Don't feel like we're only a couple days over 1 week in, so you're not behind. We were helping people before the course officially started, but the official kickoff was just last week, so you're not behind, Hala. Those beginning ones are more like they're more just like bonuses.
Yeah, our intent was to launch in the new year, but we wanted to reward if you bought early, give you early access, and wait until the start of the new year. So some of you just got a little bit of a head start in terms of being able to go in and see some videos. But you're starting at a perfect time because once again, Chinese New Year is approaching. There's not a whole lot that you can do when it comes to suppliers right now. It's perfect. Timing is perfect. I would just say definitely treat this as serious as possible. As badly as you want this, you definitely need to put in the time to go through those modules. Greg does a fascinating job at really going through every step of this process. You're not going to find that much detail in any content that's out there. So definitely go through each video. And go in order.
Kelvin shot over a screenshot asking if we could provide advice. It's we don't know what the products are, but the price runs around $30. The monthly sales, like the top one's $700, but the second one's $3,700. So Kelvin, like I usually try to dig in whenever that's the case. Like, why is that second one selling so much more than the first or the third? The review counts are really low besides that second one. So it's like, overall, this seems like it could potentially be a pretty good option, but I'd say like dig in, make sure you understand why that one is selling 3,700 because it's also the most expensive. So it's like, just by the looks of this, it seems like it could be a product that's maybe patented or that one's a little bit different, but yeah, it seems like it could be a good opportunity. We'll see. All right. Where are we on questions? Hayla said there was only pre-recorded on the Freedom Builder Bootcamp website. Yes, the Freedom Builder Bootcamp website's where all of our pre-recorded videos are, and we're doing the live coaching here in the Facebook group.
And no, this is real time. Like these videos, the reason we're dripping them out is because we're recording these as we go along with you. We definitely wanted it to have some great production value so that the quality is good for you to watch and view. But this is going to, the reason I say that, this is the timing, and you're going to get the latest trends. You're going to know the latest news on Amazon. So, and the Facebook Lives are to get any questions that maybe were missed in between. And at some point, definitely, we would love your feedback and find out more of what you want.
Max said, which product should I add to the product tracker? The ones with many reviews or the ones that have the lowest reviews? Max, I would add whatever products are most relevant to the topic that you want to launch or rated at the top, ranked at the top of the keyword results. Let's see.
Manish asks, sales of most of the products I'm tracking have dropped significantly since December. Do I need to drop those products, or is it a normal trend for January? And should I continue my research based on December numbers? I think that's definitely a common trend. Even though Amazon is big of a marketplace as it is, it does have those ebb and flows of the holidays being its peak time. So those numbers, just keep in mind, they kind of move in lockstep. You're trying to compare one product to the other. That information will still be good for the month of December. But yes, if you could pull more current information, continue to do your research, it would help, because now we're at a point where it should all kind of even out, and it's like the consistent sales of how it really operates on a day-to-day basis.
Manzer asked, could you clarify that if you use the IP accelerator to register the brand in the US, that you can go through the brand registry process in the UK market? And yes, I'm confirming that. For example, I personally, wait a second. Okay, so sorry. All right, so IP Accelerator, you get brand registry in the US. Then could I go through the Amazon brand registry process when it be valued in the UK market? Let me think about this. Yes, because for example, I don't have a short answer is yes. Like that's essentially what I did as far as getting brand registry in the US. You can then give brand registry to other accounts. So I got brand registry in the US. I granted access to brand registry to my UK account, and I now have it in the UK. So short answer there, Manzier, is yes. Hosea said, do I need to create another seller account if I want to sell in Latin America? The US Seller Central account is good for Canada, the US, and Mexico. If you want to sell in Brazil, that's the only one in Latin America, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Then it's a different Seller Central account.
It would be a separate Seller Central account.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, so Jeff asks, I was looking to source a product in the US, but the manufacturer won't package it for resale. Is there a simple way to get the product packaged for resale in the States? Well, if the manufacturer is telling you that they won't package it for resale, it would probably be some type of policy violation if you try to do that on your own. Typically, the way that things are manufactured in the United States, or even when you're packaging products outside of the United States, the label needs to identify clearly, and they're broken up into the units that they originated from. So I don't think you can do that, but I don't know if maybe.
Well, I don't know. I think what's going on here is like they found a manufacturer in the U.S. The manufacturer will create it, but they don't have a. They just essentially, unlike the Chinese factories, they don't have like
Capabilities.
the capability or set up to package it. So, Jeff, to answer your question, like I've never worked with a company in the U.S. that just does packaging. Like, I mean, of course, it's fairly easy to get it printed or created, but I've never worked with one that like took your product and packaged it for you. They probably, excuse me, they probably exist, but I've just never personally found one. So I'd have to kind of do some searching around for that.
I'd be a little skeptical as well. Only not in the sense of like if it's a shady manufacturer or supplier. It's more you want a streamlined process. Because when it comes time to ordering, just remember, these are just more hoops that you're going to have to continue to go through and jump through. So in my opinion, I like everything done by my supplier and then just ship direct to Amazon, to the fulfillment centers. So one less hurdle, one less step to go through.
Steve said, can you send 2 separate products into Amazon but list them as if they are a package? Unfortunately not. Like you can't sell something as a bundle on Amazon and make Amazon bundle it, at least using FBA. So, but I mean, you can like just shrink wrap 2 of them together, or like however you want to do it, just like has to be like created kind of as one unit. There's rumors that Amazon's changing that in the future, but as of now, that's accurate.
All right. Lali asks, do you recommend using Marketplace to buy a product idea?
Jungle Scout Market.
Yeah, I think you're probably referring to Jungle Market. I think earlier I talked about how I think product research is going to be one of your biggest strengths as an Amazon seller, and that's why I say that you want to develop that skill. Like you as you scale and grow your business, you can outsource a big portion of your business, right? You could outsource many things, but I think product research and contacting suppliers, finding the initial suppliers, that process, you don't want to outsource. You may want to do that so that you understand how it works and how to, do it the second time, the third time, the fourth time.
Max, so the problem with FOB is the seller's not responsible for giving it to the port after that. If the product lost, have to eat the cost. Max, for the scenario you're describing, I purchase insurance through my freight forwarder. It's very inexpensive, and if anything happens, insurance covers it. So that's how you kind of cover your downside in those scenarios.
All right. Jay's asking, hi Rolando, sorry the line was jumping when you were answering my question. Did you say to use the US as a proof of concept and then spread to the UK, which is where I am based? Yes, if possible. Launching in the US is just going to give you that little added bump, more consumers, right? It's a bigger market. You want the numbers to validate your idea. And then of course, you'll still need to do the research as you expand. You don't start expanding until you have, you're profitable and you're getting ahead and you have, like I said, proof of concept. But then you could start expanding after that.
So Hela said, so the course is on Freedom Builder Bootcamp only, right? Yes, you cannot find this course anywhere else on the internet. It was designed exclusively for Freedom Builder Bootcamp. Sandy said, now that I've finally been approved for Amazon FBA seller, there are certain times that Amazon can restrict new FBA products being added to their warehouse. Sandy, in Q4 of 2017, Amazon didn't allow new sellers to send in inventory, or like in November and December. That was the only time in the past 5 years that I've seen them do that. I think they did at the time because they were like out of warehouse space essentially. So like, is it possible? Yes, but it's unlikely. Max said, basically, can I make the seller responsible for import taxes and door-to-door delivery costs and safety? Yes, I mean, that's what DDP is, Max. It's for a lot of people more expensive, but feel free to like get that quote from your factory. Where can Colin get the 2020 product catalog?
So if you go to the very first module where it says start here, If you look in the description, that's all the bonuses that we talked about when you signed up for Freedom Builder Bootcamp. So yeah, just start here, description.
Rob said, if you use the supplier to ship the goods into Amazon, do you still need to get a bond? If you do DDP, let's think here. If you do DDP, I never do it, but I think actually if you do DDP, you might not have to get a customs bond because they'd be responsible for customs. Yeah, I guess that would be accurate. If you use any other type of Incoterms, then you need to get a customs bond.
And more than likely, that's built into the pricing that you negotiate, and that's why, like, if you use a freight forwarder, they're just quoting you on getting the bond.
Max, the same product from different sellers on the main keyword have a different amount of reviews. Which one's better to add the tracker with many or less reviews? Max, I would add both of them or whichever ones are most relevant for your particular product. Max will say, when I got the sample request improvement, should I ask for another sample, which is including my change, third, fourth, fifth, after each change I requested? Max, this is up to you. It's like, at some point, the sample cost starts to really add up and get kind of expensive. Like, some people feel comfortable that the changes that the factory made would be adequate. Other people want to see another sample. So it's really up to you, your personal risk tolerance.
All right. Hallie asks, I find products that seem goodish, I guess, good niche. But when sorry, but when I search in Amazon, only the seller with experience could sell it, and most of them have so many other products. The new seller has no reviews and no sales since July 2018. So do you think I should pay attention to this kind of detail?
I think you're probably getting a little bit too into the weeds. Amazon doesn't seem to give any favoritism to like aged accounts versus a brand new seller account. So I think there's other reasons that there's a difference in the sales numbers.
It's possible that one seller, like all the sales are consolidated into one seller, the top seller, because it's just a better quality product, better reviews, more reviews. So you do want to be skeptical in terms of if there's just one seller and they have the market, it's going to be hard to compete with that person and take that share of the pie. It's always nice when it's spread out, when the sales are spread out. So if you're seeing other sellers that have had no sales in quite some time, then that might be, I think a red flag.
Max, it looks like a lot of people are getting lost on product research. Can you make a few more videos? It'd be nice to have strict rules to determine if the product is good or bad. Max, I don't know if necessarily like a lot more videos would help with this because I've kind of already given all the tactics that I use to find products. The reason that really strict rules usually don't work very well is that there's so many different factors that you're determining into it that that strict rules typically just don't really work out. What I would recommend is get a list of like 10 product ideas, and then from that, figure out which one is your favorite, the most effective out of those 10. And at the end of the day, you have to kind of just pull the trigger and go for it.
All right. We got Raman asking a question. And the question says, hello, Greg. Do you recommend product inserts, especially after Amazon's TOC which are getting harder day by day? If yes, then what should we write on the inserts?
I was actually probably going to say no for this, to be honest. I don't know if they're really that effective.
What I would focus on the packaging. Just make sure your product that it's in it's nice packaging, good instructions if it's something that needs instructions. I think of like Apple, right? When you buy an Apple product, there isn't an insert in there that says, "Oh, can you please write a 5-star review?" They just focus on packaging and making sure like the best experience, right? And so I think that's where you want to put your time and effort and your dollars is in that experience.
We only have 1 minute left, so I'm going to do rapid fire for the rest of these questions. Kender, best time of year to launch? Any time of year. It really doesn't matter. May is not too late. Max said, is there a way to jump to Amazon listing from product database list results without copy and pasting the title or ASIN? Yes, you can click on the title. Hele said, do you think there's a chance in the industrial category? Yes, I think that category is fine. Sandy asked, have you noticed Chinese business suppliers do not like working with women? Sandy, my experiences and who I've spoken to through Chinese business culture is that women do not have any problem working there. Like, for an example, is my wife has a quite successful Amazon business. She goes to China by herself, visits her factories. She's quite sensitive to kind of just sexism in general. And I don't think it's ever had a major impact on her experience. When will the next module be released? Thursday?
This Thursday.
Thursday. Last question. Are there any more bonus product search hack videos? I don't think so, are there?
No. So we had 5 in the series, but they're all there. They're all in that section, in that module of the bonus videos.
Cool. Well, that wraps it up for today, guys. We were out of time. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.